You know, we spent a little bit of time talking about this potentially great get for Montreal. It is the NATO Defense Bank, which I think up until the time we started talking about it, no one really knew anything about the NATO Defense Bank, except for people perhaps who did. But now we're hearing, of course, from, lots of places because Canada is going to be the site for the new bank. Problem is, at least for Montreal, there are other cities competing beyond just Montreal. You heard the clip perhaps of Doug Ford today, trying to weigh in on this and saying that he does not support this kind of talk in Ontario. Apparently, this happened last week, where some people there who want to get that bank to go to Toronto were talking down Quebec, saying, well, with the threat of a referendum or separation, maybe you don't want to be there. He said he would not necessarily say anything bad about Montreal, and it's a great city. But in the meantime, there's lots going on behind the scenes, which is kind of where I want to go right now. Jacques Deforges, CEO of Finance Montreal, they just sent a letter to the Prime Minister basically outlining all the reasons why this NATO Defense Bank should move to Montreal. So Jacques Deforges is on the line. Mr. Deforges, thanks for being here this afternoon. Can you, first of all, when I read CEO of Finance Montreal, for people who don't know, what is Finance Montreal?
Well, good afternoon, Aaron. It's my pleasure to be with you today. Well, Finance Montreal basically is what we call the cluster for the financial industry. We are an organization that has been created to promote and develop the financial sector in Quebec.
Okay, so you, along with others, I understand, of course, are pushing to get this to come to Montreal. What are you pointing out in this letter that you wrote to the Prime Minister? What points are you making?
Well, basically, you are right in mentioning that we are a large group of people working towards that goal. I mean, starting with the Mayor of Montreal, the Prime Minister of Quebec, a lot of people in the industry, and of course the financial sector. So basically what we said to the Prime Minister is that Montreal is ready. Montreal is ready, and in particular its financial system. We have a very diverse and complete ecosystem of financial institutions. You've seen the list in the letter. And everybody is ready to start now to support that bank.
So I just took a quick look at what is in the letter. You obviously highlight a lot of different things, but one of them is, you say Montreal is one of North America's leading sustainable finance centers. What does that mean exactly?
Well, it might be a bit technical, but finance is changing these days. With the rise of the environmental issues worldwide, finance is more and more transforming itself to make investment and lending decisions that help to have a sustainable industry. And Montreal is the top city in North America when it comes to sustainable finance. We have, as you may know, the largest financial cooperative in North America, which is Desjardins. We have the Caisse, which is one of the largest pension funds. We have two private equity funds that are sponsored by unions, which is unique in North America. This is all going in favor of sustainable finance.
Okay, I would ask as well, I didn't fully understand. So this letter is to our Prime Minister, but who makes the ultimate decision here as to where this bank goes in Canada?
The Prime Minister of Canada will ultimately decide about the location of the bank.
Just him on his own?
Well, himself and his cabinet, I guess.
Okay. I was under the impression that this bank, which is going to come here, will have some say as well as to where it goes, but you're implying that it doesn't?
I'm sure it will have its say as well, of course. This kind of institutions is looking for some specific conditions, and that's why we think Montreal is well placed. It's about the financial system, of course, but it's also about the fact that the Montreal region is very strong on aerospace, on AI,
right,
on defense industry. Not to mention, this is one of the largest international cities in North America, just behind New York and Washington. Maybe people don't know that, but there are a lot of international institutions based in Montreal.
Right.
It's a tradition of the city for many years. And as such, you could even say that Montreal is comparable to cities in Europe like Brussels, for example, or Geneva.
Yeah, I famously, we always talk about ICAO, of course, being here, the International Civil Aviation Organization, one of many. But I read in the letter that I did not know this. There are 68 international organizations, including 6 with the UN, here in Montreal.
That's correct. Absolutely. Yes, this is
Wow.
a little-known fact, but this is really the signature of Montreal, which is a very international city, and this is what the SRB will look for at the end of the day. They want to have an ecosystem which is used to welcome those kind of institutions.
I would ask one other thing. You mentioned AI, and obviously that's a consideration. We know that Montreal is an AI hub. But beyond that, in terms of jobs that this was create, I think the original number that was touted was about 3,000. Those would be brand new jobs if this bank was to move here. Do you actually know that number?
Yeah, that's correct. That's a number which is generally quoted. That's of course, the ultimate goal of this institution. We'll start from zero and grow to 3,500 or about that. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Of course, at the same time, people must be listening to this and thinking, well, this will be a great addition to Montreal. Sounds wonderful. We're going to have jobs. But at some point, maybe, people with a history of some of the politics in Quebec, and I appreciate that this is not a provincial sort of issue here for right now. It's federal at the end of it all. But how much bending over do we have to do here? Bending back do we have to do to attract this bank? Do we have to offer financial incentives? What needs to be offered?
It's not really about financial incentives. This bank, as you probably understand, will be kind of owned by about 20 countries, Canada being one of them, but many European countries. It's kind of a NATO bank, if you want. So we're not talking about capital required by the bank. The bank will finance itself on the capital markets. What they want to have is a quick startup, because the build-up of our defense capabilities and resilience capabilities, as you know, the famous 5% of the expense of the governments is necessary now as we speak. So they want to have a ready-to-go ecosystem that will provide with everything they need to be in business very quickly.
Last question, and I have to wrap it up, is at the end of the day, Ontario, and I think I mentioned this off the top, everyone would like to have this bank, obviously, in their own province. What did you think? I don't know if to call it trash talking, but this idea that they're letting the Prime Minister know, as if he doesn't, the specter of separation or referendum works against Montreal. Did you think that was fair?
Well, as for myself, I'm a business person, so I will not comment on that. I will let governments discuss that. We feel that Montreal is a great file in itself. As I mentioned, the financial sector, the defense industry, the international reputation, the AI cluster. That's what matters at the end of the day. It's a business decision.
Okay. I also mentioned, I didn't mention, but I wanted to ask, did you hear Bernard Drinville the other day suggesting already that if the NATO bank was to come here, that he'd expect that the CEO or the lead of the bank would speak French?
I was behind him at the press conference. Yes, I heard his comment.
What did you think of that, or what did you make of that?
Well, you should ask him. It was a great comment. Montreal is an international city, as I mentioned. There's a large proportion of people who master several languages. I think it's a plus for a multilateral bank that will definitely deal with many countries around the world. Is
it a plus or a requirement?
Well, it's not up to me to comment.
Well, if you were to comment on it, non-politically, which one would it be?
No, I would not comment on that.
Right.
It's not really my business.
Mr. Deforges, I appreciate your time today, and I think all Montrealers would hope that we end up with that bank. It'd be great for the city. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
This May, iHeartRadio celebrates Asian Heritage Month. Discover powerful stories, vibrant cultures, and unforgettable music. From inspiring podcasts to playlists that span East, South, Southeast, and West Asian artists. We're honoring the voices shaping our world. Listen now on the free iHeartRadio app. And at iHeartRadio.ca.